Hi, welcome to Bonita's Kitchen and thank you for joining us. I'm excited to bring you today this delicious red velvet Valentine's art cake. It is such a beautiful cake. Of course, red velvet cake in general is amazing. So what I'm going to do here today is to show you how to make the red velvet cake from scratch. You can also turn this cake into a Valentine's art shaped cake, or you could leave it round as a birthday cake. So it sounds good. If that interests you, stick around here and let's get started. So what we'll do while we're getting started, I'm going to show you the ingredients as I put it into the bowl. We're also going to be making a cream cheese icing to go over this, and I'll show you that as well. Everything is from scratch. Also, I'm all about simple ingredients, all about ingredients you got in your home, and of course you can substitute if any ingredient we don't have or you don't have in your home. You can change it to something else, but I'll show you that and we'll talk a little bit more about that as I go. So we'll start first creaming up our butter and our sugar. So that's half a cup of butter and a full cup of sugar, and I'm using white sugar here today. If you can't use white sugar, you can substitute with a sugar that's good for you. I'm going to use my blender here today to mix up most of it, and then but you can also just mix it by hand. I'm also going to be putting in there a teaspoonful of vanilla and half a teaspoonful of sea salt. I think it is half a teaspoonful, but I will have the recipe there as well and clarify that for you. I'm going to be using 2 eggs. You could put it in there one at a time and mix it in, or put both of them together. That's entirely up to you, and you could whisk it a little bit first, but because I'm using the blender, I'm just going to blend it in just lightly. Using here today is a cup of evaporated milk. It's evaporated whole milk, and you could use regular milk, but have it the whole milk so that it's creamier. And I'm adding in there 1 tablespoonful of white vinegar, and this is to give it the texture of a buttermilk, and what my mom used to call it, and the elders, is a sour milk almost. So it kind of gives it that texture and is delicious for cakes and such. So you could use this, or you could use the buttermilk, whatever you got available. So what we're going to do here as well, I got 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, and you can use a flour of choice, and because we're making a cake, you can also use a cake flour, not a cake mix, a cake flour. You can get that out there, but this is an all-purpose flour, white flour, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, and 1 teaspoonful of baking soda. So what we're going to do, we're going to sift this into the bowl, alternating 3 times with the milk that got the vinegar in it and the dry ingredients. So what I mean by that, we're going to go sift. So I'm going to put this to the side over here in the bowl, and then about 1/4 or so of the milk mixture, and then blend that together. And then what you would do, take all of the mixture away from the sides, because you want everything down into the bowl. And again, we're going to be alternating sifting of the flour and cocoa powder and baking soda, and then another portion of the milk. Texture of this batter, that it's being blended, opposed to if you're just doing it with your hand. I've made them with just using my whisk, but it just, I don't know. Both of them is equally as delicious, but today that's just the way I'm going to do it. So the rest of the flour, the dust and everything is going up to the camera. Hopefully I never distorted it.
No, you just got it over my face.
Well, everything is going everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And the rest of that milk and vinegar. Now I'm going to blend this together and show you one more ingredient that's going to go in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I rinsed out my cup with about, I don't know, not even a quarter of a cup of water, just to get the rest of that milk and vinegar. I'm going to complete that, I'm going to continue with that, just to blend it in. Raymond don't like the idea of the blender too much because he's filthy over there and he's got cake everywhere.
Yeah, shortly got to get a shower.
That's okay. He'll survive. So what we're going to use here is a food coloring, a red food coloring, because this is a red velvet cake. And pretty much they all got whatever type of food coloring you got. It doesn't matter. It could be the gel, it could be the liquid, or it could be the, you can get all sorts is what I'm saying. So I'm going to put about 2 teaspoonfuls of the red food coloring into this mixture and blend it together. Just going to mix that on in there. And you'll see a change in color. Just want to get the batter off my electric blender. So I'm just going to take the rest of that and I'm going to now get all of the batter away from the side and mix it in. So pretty much what you're doing here is giving that a beautiful red velvet color. You can have more than that, of course, if you want it more red, but I'm okay with that amount in this recipe. So what you're going to need is 2 round pans, unless you got arch-shaped pans, and if you got those, then you don't need the round pans. But the reason why I'm using the round ones today, because again, you could make this 2 different ways. You could leave it round, decorate it, have it as a birthday cake. You could leave it, cut it out, shaped as a heart, which I'm going to show you that here today, and have it for your Valentine's special occasion, or a special occasion of any sort. You can get your kids, your grandkids to help you with this, because we got a couple of different things we're going to be doing. Of course, they can help you with the mixing, or just cleaning off those spoons, that those whisks from making the cake. So I'm just going to oil the pans, and inside I got a piece of parchment paper cut round to be in the bottom of the pan. So let's show you what we're going to do next. So what I'm going to do now is share this up into 2 different pans. So pretty much you're just going to scoop it out evenly on both sides, or as evenly as you can, to fill those 2 pans. So after you evened it out, just spread it out to the end of each pan. And now I'm going to tell you how long you need to bake it for. Okay, so after you've spread it out into your pan, it kind of gives it a little knock too. My mom would say it just helps, I guess, spread it out that little bit more. But you don't have to do that. Also, turn on your heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to put these cakes in there from anywhere from 25 minutes to 30 minutes until they're pick tender, you are clean. When you put a toothpick in there, pull it out and it's clean. And what we'll do while we're waiting is make our cream cheese icing, and I'll show you what that's like. About an 8-ounce package of cream cheese, regular or low fat, half a cup of butter or margarine. You just put that in together. So what I'm going to do now is cream this together. Start start creaming it together and try not to get any over Raymond. And see what happens. Right? And then we're going to be putting in a teaspoonful of vanilla extract. And 4.5 cups of powdered sugar, confectionery sugar. So you're going to put this in stages. Of course, you know exactly what's going to happen. Raymond's going to feel the love on that, that's for sure. Look, I haven't even touched the blender, look, and I got it everywhere. So I'm going to gradually mix this in stages as well, just until you get it all in there and it starts to cream together. This is pretty much the last stage of mixing the cream cheese icing together. So again, I just put it in steps just so that I don't, well, weird and be everywhere.
That'll give me a second to move back from the camera.
You know it is, right? See, look at all the powdered sugar. Okay, so pretty much that's it for that. I'm not used to using my blender lots, and I get everything just full of dust. And of course there's no getting away from that other than, and I'm enjoying it too, because it makes you feel like you're baking when you got everything full of flour and of course this powdered sugar. So pretty much this is what it's going to look like. You can scoop it out and eat it. It's so delicious. If you need more powdered sugar, if you need another little bit, not necessarily a butter, but you can put a cream in there as well if you want to make more, just to put more powdered sugar in there. I just put the cake in the oven, so I get the timer on for 25 minutes. I'll start first, and then what I'm going to do then is clean up here. By then my cake will be out of the oven, and then I'll show you what's next. Now our cakes are done. They're absolutely beautiful. Just look at this red velvet cake. So I gotta put there on the cooling rack. I want that to cool down for at least to room temperature. And I'm going to show you a couple of more things we're going to do with that. So pretty much just use a toothpick, check and see if it's comes out clean. And it do, then you know it's baked. And this one was at 25 minutes, but it could take anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. What you are going to need as well is a decorating art. If you don't have, this is just for making coffee art. If you don't have something like this, I can show you how to make one. Just get yourself a piece of coarse paper, or paper of any sort, of course. Fold it in two. Not necessarily square, but you can have it square if you want to. And then what you're going to do is take a pair of scissors. Now I want the heart about this size, so of course you can judge it here on the paper. If you want to get your youngsters to make this, your grandkids or your kids, so you're going to start right here and cut. You're going to cut all the ways through and then up. You're going to make a little turn over and then down, and you're going to have yourself a little bit of a shape of a heart. That one is a little more ruggeder than this one here, so you're just going to shape the heart. And the reasons for that is for decorating the top of the cake, and I'll show you that as we get closer. So just to let you know, you need something like that if you want to decorate it the way I'm going to do it today. So after you've flipped your pan, this is still quite hot, I'm going to flip it back over onto my cooling rack. I'm going to do it with both of them. Flip it out and just take the piece of parchment paper off that side, like this, and put it down. So we want it for it to come to total room temperature. You're also going to need yourself a plastic bag, a little small one like this, or you can do have a coffee grinder, just one of those handheld ones, because what we're going to do, we're going to be putting some cake into that, and the cake is what's going to be our decorating, I guess, ingredient. And you're just going to take a serrated knife and you're going to cut the very tip. Let me get the serrated knife in through here now. The very top off of this cake, going all the ways across. Now you only need to do this with the one cake. You don't need to do it with both. So this is still hot, of course. You're going to see the steam come up. Just look at the lovely color. Just put it over onto a grate. We want for that to come totally at room temperature as well before we start doing anything with it. That's all you need to do there. Just look how lovely this cake is today. Absolutely delicious. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take this piece and we're going to totally destroy it. Of course, I'm going to pass Raymond over a little tiny taste of it. He can destroy that piece there now.
Look, it's even shaped like a heart.
Right?
Almost.
There you go, right? Yeah. Nothing but the best for you.
I know.
And so you just break it up in pieces like that. The reason why I said you can put it in a plastic bag and do it this way. Actually, I'm going to keep a little taste out for myself. Or you could put it in a coffee grinder, because pretty much, I don't want the air in it, pretty much all you're going to do there is break this up into very small pieces, grate it as small as you can, and I'll show you that as we go. Now we'll get back to the cake. So I'm just going to take out my dish here. I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of icing on the bottom so it don't move. And put this cake here. I'm going to bring it in closer. So we're going to have that one kind of centered there for now. And I'm going to get some icing now and start putting over this section. So we're going to take a scoop of that cream cheese icing and put down there on the cut side of the cake and just spread it out to the sides as evenly as you can, but you're not going to see it ever again other than when you cut it. So it's just mainly just to get a nice lot of icing there, and that's all you need to do there. Just a rough spread. So instead of using this beautiful section right here of the cake, we're going to be using this as our top. We're going to put the cake directly down on top of that icing and just push it down a little like this to get it in place. That's all you need to do there. What we're going to do next, now unless you want to leave this cake nice and round like this, that's all you need to do is just icing it. But if you want to make it into an heart-shaped cake, you're not going to cut all the way through. We're just going to make an indent, as you can see, marked there, and as well on this side to make a cross like this. And now I'm going to show you how to cut it. So with the serrated knife or a very sharp knife, you see from this point there to this point and this point to this point, we're going to make the shape of a V. So you're going to go point to point and just take your knife and start cutting down. So you're going to cut all the ways through to the bottom of that cake, and you're going to pull this out. So that's the piece there. I'm just going to put it right here on the counter for now. And Raymond, that's not yours.
No, I know.
Is that where you laughed? From this point to this point, we're going to do the same. We're going to cut off the piece of the cake, and this is going to make the art at the other side. So you just cut it all the ways through. Again, seeing this and that piece of cake there.
Okay, so that would be my piece.
No, that piece is not your piece neither.
Okay, I tried.
And then I'm going to swirl it your way like this. I hope you're following along and you're excited to make your red velvet Valentine heart cake. So what you're going to do next is take a nice helping of that cream cheese icing and put around the section that's not cut, because now we're going to be inserting the ones we cut to make the art shape on top. So the piece we didn't want Raymond to have, we're going to put right here, and we're going to not press it. You're going to see a little crack there, but that'll all come together. And you're going to put this other piece over here. So you got the point there where we cut down and over. So this will give you the judge of where these two pieces is going to go. So you got one there and one over here, and now we're going to icing it and hide away all of our faults, and nobody will get to see it. And pretty much you'll see the shape of the Valentine, but now it's going to be icinged. So now we're going to start icing this delicious red velvet Valentine heart shape cake. So we're going to be chunking on as much of the icing as you want, making sure that you got enough left over to icing the rest of the cake, of course, and if you need to make more you can, but you pretty much, the part where you know that you don't want nobody to see your fanciness of making the heart, you put a little bit extra icing, and that's the part where Raymond is going to be like so wanting.
Oh.
Right? And then you just give it a nice coat of that delicious icing, cream cheese icing. Nice. After you get pretty much all the icing put out there, then you're going to start smoothing it out and getting it, you know, as smooth as you want. I mean, you can have it rugged too, it doesn't matter. Again, when you're making the cake for a gift or for yourself, you don't have to be overly particular about what it's going to look like. But as long as you can see this beautiful heart-shaped cake, what do you think, Raymond?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, you just make sure you got all of the areas where you need to kind of cover up because you joined. Just put it around. So now what I'm going to do is show you what we're going to do with that leftover cake to fancy it up. Delish. So pretty much you're going to use up all of that icing. And again, if you want it thicker and want more, you can go ahead and, you know, make more, or just add some more icing sugar to what you already got. Now what we're going to do is decorate, and that is the fun part as well. We're going to do the heart shapes on top, and we're going to do a little bit of a decorating around the sides, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to clean up around my plate a little bit too. So using the paper cutout, which I'll start right here to show you that, and then I'll use my other one. And this is just, you're going to take the cake and sprinkle in to that area where you got the heart. And when you get it the amount that you want, you're kind of going to make sure you got all of the sections covered. You're going to pat it down a little tiny bit so that, don't mind it flicking a little bit of it, you can pick that off after. And then you're going to lift up on your heart and move it out of the way. And as you can see, tuck in any that's poking out, so that's your heart. So pretty much what you would continue doing, I'm just going to use this one here for now because I got it there to use, is just keep making hearts around your cake. Those fluffy little cake hearts. Very pretty and easy to do. You don't mind the mess on it because that part you could take off after. And as you can see, we got the big one and we got that little one. So I'm going to make some around here. I'll show you that after. So we're doing our last art on there. Again, that's if you wanted to make arts. You can use paper, you can use one of these decorating coffee art-shaped I guess, contraptions. I don't know what you would call it.
Close enough.
And I got one of these candy kisses that you would get for Valentine's. What a size of a candy kiss. I'm going to put him right in the middle and put some love arts around the side. So this is it, you guys. This is our fancy red velvet Valentine heart shaped cake. You can have it for your birthday, you can have it for Valentine's or a special occasion like anniversary, so on. If you don't want that big old piece of art kiss in there, you can put a little heart and that would look nice as well. So this is it, as good as it gets. Now we're going to have a piece. Okay, Raymond, I got some tea steeping there for us. We're going to have a cup of tea with this, and I'm going to cut off a little piece just for you to see on the inside. Of course, you know you've seen all the layers. I'm not going to touch the top here as such, but I'm going to cut here on the side a piece off and show you what it looks like. Of course, we got to cut it sometime, so we might as well cut it now. Now just look. How delicious is this adorable cake? Red velvet. Now I'm going to put it here on my plate and I'm going to have a little taste. I'm going to take off a little smidgen here because we're going to set back, myself and Raymond, and have a cup of tea with this. But I mean, it's so nice and moist. And of course, this cream cheese icing is just so good. And I'm going to pour up some tea and then I'm going to have a taste. So good. Delicious. The texture is amazing. I don't want to say moist because some people don't like the word moist when it comes to a cake, but the texture is so tasty. I can see you loving this one. 2 thumbs up by myself and Raymond because he's been picking air in between. We're going to sit back and have a little taste of this one.
You're not supposed to tell what
He couldn't keep his fingers off of this cake and icing. Before I have another taste and get it all over my face, because Raymond is not going to tell me, as you know, we're going to leave you this recipe. And under this video, it's either see more or an arrow pointing down. If you can't find it there, look for it. On our website, I'll share the link, www.bonitaskitchen.com. I'll also share a link on our Facebook page, and if you can't find it there, send me a message at bonitakitchen@gmail.com. So I'd love for you to try this recipe with your family, your kids, your grandkids, or just you and your sweetheart. If you're going to have it for Valentine's, 2 thumbs up, you're going to love it. If it's your birthday, so on behalf of myself and Raymond there, we're going to say happy birthday to anyone that's celebrating over this weekend and this month. Also, if you got an anniversary, this cake is for you guys as well. Happy anniversary. And from myself and Raymond and our team here at Bonita's Kitchen, we thank you for spending some time with us here today. On behalf of from our kitchen to yours, thank you once again for joining us and have a wonderful day. Nice, eh?
Yeah. Way to go.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Here's to everything.
And don't forget to join us again on Bonita's Kitchen.
Join us by the sea. A journey in culinary. Always an open door.
Just put a little bit of the cake
Bonita's Kitchen to yours.
around the sides like this, just to dress it up that little bit more. And that's all you need to do there.